Imagine a nation that hadn't even qualified for World Cup in 28 years. A team nobody picked to get out of the group stage that ended up beating the mighty Brazil. This is the story of how a single player carried the whole nation on his back and how he turned it into one of the most talked about runs of the entire tournament. To understand his story, we have to go back in time. He was born in Leeds, England, to a Norwegian father who once played professional football himself, and a mother who competed as a professional heptathlete. Football was not a hobby in that house. It was in his blood on both sides. He grew up in Bryne, Norway, a small town, playing for the local club his father once played for. He was enormous for his age, awkward at times, but even as a teenager the goals never stopped. Red Bull Salzburg, where he scored so fast and so often that half of Europe's biggest clubs were suddenly calling. Then Borussia Dortmund. Then Manchester City, where he broke the Premier League goal-scoring record in a single season. By his mid-20s, Erling Haaland was one of the most feared strikers alive. There was just one thing missing. He had never played a single minute of a World Cup, not because he wasn't good enough. Because his country simply was not there. Norway had not qualified for a World Cup since 1998. An entire generation of Norwegian footballers grew up, played their entire careers, and retired without ever seeing their country at the tournament. Haaland was not even born last time Norway made it. He grew up watching other nations play in the tournament his own country couldn't reach. Every 2 years the conversation was the same: the best striker on the planet, and no World Cup to show it on. Critics had an easy line ready. How can you call yourself one of the greatest if you've never even played a World Cup? Then qualifying for 2026 began, and something changed. Norway did not just qualify, they ran the table. 8 matches, 8 wins, 37 goals scored. A perfect record that no other European nation could match. Haaland scored 16 of those goals himself. The campaign ended with a statement match in Milan, away against Italy, the 4-time World Cup winners. Italy needed a win to steal the group. Norway only needed a draw. Italy scored first. Then Norway answered. Goal after goal in the second half, Haaland scoring twice himself, until the final whistle confirmed it. Norway had won 4-1 against Italy to send themselves to the World Cup. 28 years of waiting ended in Milan. The tournament itself started in Boston against Iraq. Haaland announced his first appearance with 2 first-half goals that sandwiched an Iraqi equalizer. Norway won comfortably. The doubters who thought this team would be happy just to show up were already wrong. Next came Senegal. Haaland secured another Player of the Match award with a second-half double, and Norway held on to qualify out of the group. 2 matches, 4 goals. Norway were already through to the knockout rounds in their first World Cup appearance in nearly 3 decades. But nobody was ready for what came next. The round of 16. Norway against Brazil. 5-time world champions. The most decorated nation in World Cup history. The team every neutral expected to steamroll Norwegian side. Instead, Haaland's brace sent Norway into the World Cup quarterfinals for the first time ever, eliminating Brazil in the process. A country that hadn't been to a World Cup since 1998 had just knocked out Brazil. The image of Haaland walking off that pitch, having just ended Brazil's tournament, was the moment the entire football world stopped treating Norway's run as a nice story and started treating it as a genuine threat. The quarterfinal brought England, and with it, Jude Bellingham, Haaland's old teammate from his Dortmund days, someone who knew exactly how dangerous he could be. The match in Miami did not go Norway's way. A video review determined that Haaland pushed Elliot Anderson, ruling out what looked like a Norwegian equalizer, and Bellingham finished the match with a pair of goals of his own to send England through instead. Haaland later admitted he was simply out of gas by that point in the tournament, having carried the weight of an entire nation's hopes match after match, for a team that had never before had to play this many matches at this level. Norway's historic run ended in the quarterfinals. For the first time in his career, Haaland walked off a World Cup pitch as the loser. But here is where the story splits. The same way every great sports story eventually does. Critics point out that Haaland still doesn't have a World Cup trophy, and that Norway got eliminated when the tournament got hardest, losing to England in the quarterfinal. They point out that for all the goals, the run still ended one step short of a first-ever semifinal. But supporters see something else entirely. They see a striker who had never played a single World Cup match walk into the tournament and immediately go goal for goal with Kylian Mbappe and Lionel Messi at the top of the Golden Boot race. They see a nation that had been absent from the World Cup for 28 years, that most pundits expected to make an early exit. Instead, knock out five-time champions Brazil and reach a quarterfinal for the first time in the country's history. To his supporters, that is not a disappointment. That is one of the great individual World Cup debuts in recent memory. So what do you think? Did Haaland's first World Cup live up to the hype? Drop your answer in the comments below. Also, I wanted to thank you for completing the like target on my last video. In this video, the like target is 9.